policies and a lot of practices that help communities integrate in ways that Suffolk County is sort of just coming on the bandwagon with. I think sort of a perfect example of this is what just recently happened in Patchogue. In the last 5 years, the Patchogue high school student population went from being about 4% immigrant, or I'm actually not sure if it's immigrant or Latino, to being over 20% immigrant or Latino. As recently as November, when the hate crime happened there, the superintendent of the Patchogue School District said there is no racism in our schools, and yet they could not really identify, categorically said there is no racism here, but yet could not really identify ways in which the two communities were coming together, the native-born community and the immigrant community. Can you imagine if we just dumped, a new segment of the population in an area and did nothing to sort of help them learn how to adjust to their new location, as well as, work with the existing population there to increase understanding between the two groups? That's essentially what's happening in Suffolk County. It's resulted in a variety of things. Fear and hate are one of them in the sort of more abstract sense. But in the actual, literal legislative sense, we have a lot of politicians out there who are talking about immigration, and I'm going to use the word impractical again, impractical ways. Immigration legislation, or immigration is legislated on the national level, the federal level. Our sort of failed immigration system, our broken immigration system, is the fault of national government. Under the Bush administration, there were 3 different efforts to reform the immigration system, none of which passed. The only thing that continued to, be pushed through were increased spending for enforcement. Enforcement is never going to work. And I say that because immigration is not a cut and dry situation. There are a lot of sort of gray areas. But mostly immigrants move because of economic situations. And I wanted to ask this question in the beginning, but how many people here can sort of trace their family history back to immigrants? Can I see anyone? Yeah, anyone came over on the Mayflower? Anyone? No. Even the Mayflower was immigrants, so what are you going to do? So literally, the American dream is continuing. And not only that, immigrant generations today are the same as, our grandparents or our great-grandparents were immigrating here for more opportunity for their family, regardless of what, the situation is in their country of origin. So going back 2 steps, immigration is federally legislated. We have a situation right now where we have 12 million people with no legal status, no legal rights, no workers' protection, no health care living in this country. How many buses do you think it would take to get 12 million people out of the country? Could anyone? I don't know the answer.
500,000.
Maybe. Really, it's just an impractical solution. What we need to figure out are ways to provide, legal status and securities to the people who are living here and to reunite them with their families, which they can no longer sort of join with because we now have a wall going through some of the places where people used to cross. So again, the Bush administration didn't accomplish immigration reform. What they did accomplish was more enforcement spending. We don't know what Obama will do yet. He has said, immigration is in his top 5 priorities, but whether or not he's going to spend political capital on this very dangerous issue, we don't really know yet. I say it's dangerous.
Not in his first term.
Yeah, well, who knows? We're going to see. We're definitely going to see.
He's got that capital. He's got to keep it to get reelected. Then in the second term, he'll address it.
I think we got it on camera, so I'll check back with you in the next election. So again, the federal government has failed us on that level, leaving us with a lot of problems on the local level. The problems being that, people need housing, people need health care, people gotta work, gotta eat, do all sorts of different things, and they're continuing to do that, again, with no legal protections. What our local government, what our local police forces have done is tried to step up and, fill the job of the federal government, but they can't. They do not have the jurisdiction to create immigration reform. What they do have the jurisdiction to do is push people further underground, make them more fearful, which is what has, I'm going to generalize a little bit, what we've seen, and this is what we've seen happen in Suffolk County. I'm going to talk a little bit about Nassau County, which I said was experiencing immigration before Suffolk County. They've done a lot of great things, like have community meetings with their police force so that no one is afraid to come and report a crime, so that people know that both government and, you know, the enforcement side, the police, are again working for them because they are residents here, they're paying taxes here, they're raising families here. They've created an organization called CASA, which is a governmental organization which works to provide English as a second language classes, which works to help immigrants when they want to start new businesses, which helps, you know, people, new immigrants understand, again, that government is there for them and is working for them and for their benefit. What I can say for Suffolk County